Good news world, and welcome to another fire episode of
Under the Influence,
where we delve in to relevant topics and fire topics sent by you guys, the youth and the audience of this show. Before we begin anything, I'd like to honor my man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel, the prophet to this last dispensation.
That's right.
The commander-in-chief and the president of the good news world. If it wasn't for you, sir, the prophetic word that you released about Campus Cry, we would not be here today, and we would not be at the forefront in this good news revolution, ministering and sharing the good news to all youth worldwide. So thank you so much, sir. It's an honor. And just like I previously mentioned, in these upcoming episodes, what we're going to be doing is handling your personal dilemmas as the audience, and we'll be tackling them from a perspective of good news as taught by our man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel. So, today's question: is it right for me to be wealthy since money is the root of all evil? Now that question is such a burning question because it's in a lot of young people's minds. I remember one time I was in university. This is in my first year, and I was studying in a particular room, and there was a group of us, and I remember one girl said, "If it's the will of God, I'll be rich." And I said, hold on. If it's the will of God? And I said, what do you mean by that? And she said that God might not will me to be rich. And immediately, because I had already been exposed to the revelation of our man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel, I immediately knew that, whoa. This mindset is not of the actual good news, revelation. Our man of God taught us that in the Bible, if you look at the book of Matthew 6, verse 24, it says that you cannot serve two masters, right? That verse goes on to say that you cannot serve two masters, God or mammon. You can't. And the truth is, the fact that God is likening money to his level means that God sees money, wealth, as his competitor. God sees money as being equal to him. And that word master, our man of God taught, is the word kuros, which means emperor.
Wow.
And that word means one who rules by himself. So imagine that. God actually sees money as one who rules by himself. Imagine that. That's deep.
You know, if the amazing thing is, if you look in the Bible, you find that God talks more about money, more than he talks about heaven.
Wow.
More than he talks about hell. More than he talks about even about faith.
Wow.
He talks about money 2,300 times.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Wow.
That shows God understands the importance of money.
Wow.
It's not something that, that he just says, it's unnecessary, you don't need it. It's just money. Like, no. For him to speak about it 2,300 times, that means it's something extremely important. You look at Adam, he created him to be a steward. That means that means wealth is for us. We're supposed to be stewards of wealth. We're supposed to be stewards of this thing called money. So then the question isn't, is money evil? But what's the purpose of it?
Yeah, so even what you're saying about wealth, right? In the Bible, it speaks about how wealth is used. It's a tool used for influence, for control.
That's right.
And for empowerment.
That's right. That's right.
If you look in Proverbs, and also in Deuteronomy 15, verse 6, it says this. It says, when the Lord your God blesses you as he has promised you, then you will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow.
Wow.
And then it says, and you will rule over many nations.
Wow.
But they will not rule over you.
Wow. That's deep.
Wealth and rulership in the same paragraph.
Wow.
So what is it? Money is for you to be a lender of nations.
Wow. And just
for them not to have rulership over you either when you have money.
Wow. Money with a mission.
Money with a mission.
A purpose.
Exactly. It's money with a mission.
Yeah, I remember so many times man of God, Prophet Angel, speaks about how the love of money is the problem. It's not money itself, because money is actually a tool.
That's right.
So it's actually your attitude towards money.
That's right.
How do you view it? Is it a way in which you think about, like, okay, look, I'm going to worship this as a source, or is it used as a resource? Do you respect it as a resource? Because money does need to be respected. Now, how do you gain mastership over money? How are you able to have dominion over money? Our man of God says this one thing. He says, give. Learn to give.
Wow.
Because in Luke, it says this as well. So it says, give and it shall be given unto you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give to you.
Wow.
So just imagine if you take that and you're able to master money, because remember, we cannot serve two masters.
That's right.
We cannot serve God and money.
That's right.
We serve God through our money, by the way we give it. Because remember, when God can't get it through you, He can't get it to you.
Exactly. And that reminds me of an important thing that our man of God even taught. He mentioned a Bible verse and he said that the heart is what? Deceitful amongst all other things. Right? But then he gave us a cheat code, he gave us a hack. And he said what? Our hearts follow what? Our treasures, right? So what you want to do is, if you want your heart to be where God is, you give your treasures where God is. Because automatically your heart will go there. Now obviously in common days or in common times, our treasure is what? Our money, correct? Some people it's their time, some people it's their families, this, that. But the common thing is money. So if we want our hearts to be where God is, just like you're saying, it's to distribute, to give. To give is to what? To control. So that's such an important point. And even on that, I remember one time our man of God even went further and he said that wealth is a defense, right? In the book of Proverbs 10:15, it says that the wealth of the rich is their what? Defense. But the poverty of the poor is their destruction. So immediately there, right there, we can see two things. One, we can see that wealth is actually a hedge. It's a defense. Then poverty is an actual attacking weapon. It's a weapon, right? But also another side of this scripture we see is that being rich and being poor is not determined on your resources. It's determined on your mindset. One thing our man of God always says is that poverty is not the lack of resources, but it's the lack of what? Imagination. And he always says that this thing in between your eyes, your brain, will take you where you need to go. This thing is the only thing that's in between you and riches. Right? So be imaginative, use your brain, use your mind. It's all a mindset thing. Now, when we look at the book of Job, right? The book of Job, chapter 1, and we see that the devil, what was the first thing? When the devil, to give some context, when the devil approached God amongst the other sons of God, what did he say? He said that, does Job not love you, or does Job not praise you because of the hedge around him? And then we see after that, when God gave the devil the green light to go and test Job, what happened?
The hedge was gone.
He went straight for his wealth.
Straight.
That's an indication that the hedge that the devil was talking about was his wealth.
Exactly.
So imagine that. And a lot of people are there saying, oh, but wealthy people are evil, or wealth is evil. Listen, if wealth was evil, the devil would have went to Job and added wealth. Listen, if wealth is evil, please
give us your evil. Give us your evil, please. And even what you're saying about the devil, he said that the devil said to God, Job only loves you because you have blessed the work of his hands.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. You know, with how you just mentioned Job, you know, he was a great man. He was a great man, right? You know, if you look throughout the Bible, great men of God, Abraham, Moses, you know, these big figureheads.
That's right.
You know, they were all blessed with substance. They all had wealth.
That's right.
Now, God, as I said, he prioritizes wealth. So it's not like, okay, you know, God's not going to bless you. It's his will to prosper you. Now, let's turn to Joel chapter 2, verse 19. I'll show you something profound. In fact, it reads, yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. You see, if you read my man of God's book, The Money's Coming, you understand that all these items, so corn and wine and oil, these are measures of prosperity. So the more you have it, the more prosperous you are. Just like in this day and age, if a certain man's wealth might be measured by his cars, his properties, the amount of money in his bank account, liquid. Back then, it was corn, oil. So it was these things which were actually used to measure. So that right there shows prosperity, right? So Joel chapter 2, verse 19. Now, if we shift on a little bit later in the chapter, verse 28, it says, it shall come about after this that I shall pour out my spirit on all mankind. Notice this, afterward. So if it was afterward, what should have happened first is the prosperity. God rules for your prosperity before the gifts of the Spirit.
That's it. Wow, that's such an important point. And I remember one time our man of God even mentioned that money is a spirit. Imagine that. You're holding a £50 note and it's spirit. A lot of people still don't even get that revelation. Money is a spirit. Money isn't coins. Money isn't banknotes. It's a spirit.
And you know, as well, our man of God taught us that spirits, they travel on sound waves.
That's right.
Now, if you go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, we find God speaking. And what does he say? He says, light be. And light happened. So that means in his speaking, in his voice, in the sound waves that he produced, in there was locked enough energy to produce light. So you know, if you look in the scientific world, they're called the sonoluminescence. So you know, it's the process where you create light out of sound. So that means it's the same thing with when you speak. You can say to your business, money be, and like that you create a pathway. You create the sound waves create a pathway for the spirits to move.
That's right.
That's so even what you're saying there, right, about spirits travel through sound waves, right? It's a consistency. What you're speaking gives the possibility for spirits to come into your life, right? So you can't be like, obviously, the Money is Coming book, right? By our man of God, Prophet Uebert Angel, right? The best book going so far. Amazing.
Come on.
Speaks about consistency. Being consistent in your speech. You can't be saying, money is coming, money is coming, money is coming. Then someone calls you, hey, Godfrey, can I borrow some money? No, money's tight. It's money's tight. I can't, right? Why? Because now, there are spirits traveling.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? The spirits traveling.
Exactly. And you know what? Even you saying the money is coming. Come on, that's your lyric.
Come on.
Exactly.
Unfinished, the money is coming. But yeah, so even what you mentioned about how if you look in the book of Genesis, God spoke and he said what? Light be. And then light was, right? So what are we saying then? If we're saying that money is a spirit, and if we look in the book of Genesis, God spoke and what? Light was. Guess what? Your words control creation. Sound controls creation. And if we look at money, money is part of that creation. Right? Access to assets, etc., is part of that creation. So the words you speak can form, just like you said, can form highways and bridges and travel mediums for money as a spirit to come to you. But our man of God also taught that just as money can come to you, money can what?
Can leave.
Flee from you. Right? He mentioned that there's such thing as speaking the language of poverty. If you speak words of poverty, guess what? Money will come, measure your value, and flee. Our man of God mentioned that money is only a medium of exchange that comes to measure value. If it comes to you, for example, if it comes to me and I speak words of poverty, guess what? It's gonna measure my value according to the words I speak, right? The words are your value. Our man of God taught that the words you speak are your value. I remember one time our man of God mentioned that there was a magazine that misquoted or misreferenced his net worth. And they said that he was worth so and so million. And he looked at it And he laughed and he said, these guys are lying.
Come on.
How is this possible? I'm worth what my mouth can speak.
Exactly.
Right? So you right there sitting, watching this program, listen, don't look down on yourself, because at the end of the day, you're worth what your mouth can speak.
Exactly.
If you want that property, go and get it. Because why? You're worth what your mouth can speak.
Exactly.
If you want certain money to come to you for a particular deal, speak that money in existence and speak it so that it can travel to you. Specifically on that point of speaking words of poverty, there's actually a verse that our man of God mentioned, and it's right here. It is Matthew 6 verse 31, and it reads, "Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed?" So you see how the language of poverty can even sound like you're just questioning. It can sound just normal, but really, these things the Bible is saying, don't have thought towards them. Because that's the language of poverty. These type of thoughts and these type of sayings will what? Make money flee from you.
Exactly. Oh, that's so powerful with what you just said. Like, you know, when you speak, you're building bridges, you're building highways, you're building byways.
That's right.
The more you build those bridges, the more avenues, the more channels you have to bring money towards you, right? But it doesn't just stop there. Put yourself out there. You know, go to networking events, go to exhibitions, speak to people who have already done it, been in the business. You know, you'll be surprised as to how much information you can actually gain from speaking to people, especially those who are, you know, elder to you. So I'll just testify right now.
Come on,
testify.
You know, I'm actually in the industry of property. So I've actually, you know, gone about, you know, going to networking events. I've spoken to many people, and when you're starting up, there's a lot of hurdles. But you know, as my man of God said, you know, you are what your mouth declares.
That's right.
Right. So I kept declaring, and I've also gone and spoke to people. So this one instance, in this one particular location, I met this lawyer. And this lawyer was telling me about his, you know, how he got to where he is and what he was doing and stuff like that. So we eventually, you know, speak about property. And he says he knows this landlord. So I go to speak to this landlord, and this landlord, you know, we also get into a conversation saying, okay, you know, how many properties do you have, stuff like that. And he mentions that right now he's not looking to sell anything. He's not looking to give anything away. However, there's another person he knows. That lawyer actually knew a landlord, and this landlord, you know, we got into a conversation. He was not looking to sell anything or give anything away. However, he did know another landlord.
Wow.
So notice a chain here.
Wow.
So that landlord, I went and spoke to him, got his number, spoke to him, and he was actually looking to give away his property. And this was actually off the back of a bad experience. So I pounced on that. I catalambanoed that opportunity.
That's right. That's right.
And then I spoke to him. I seized the opportunity, assured him. And in alignment with my word, I backed it up with action.
That's right.
And once I did that, I secured my first property. And now it's
That's amazing. That's amazing. So that's even a prime example of getting yourself in the right environments, linking up with the right people. Because just like you mentioned, it was a chain reaction of associations. It wasn't just that first person you associated with, but it was who were they associated with, and so on and so on and so on. And that landed you your first deal, which is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. So exactly. So really, what you're saying is, for those that are watching right now, listen, find networking events. If you know that this area of town or this area in a particular locality has these type of people, listen, go there, dressed well in your best suit, in your best dress, and go there, approach these people. Because I remember one time that our man of God said that the thing about billionaires is that they respect and actually really listen to people with a certain level of boldness, a certain level of bulldog tenacity. Once you get a hold of something, you don't let it go. And that's exactly what you need to do. So, yeah, and what better way than to attend Millionaire Mixer hosted by the Rebels for Christ globally. Godfrey, you were there on the last one.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, the amazing thing is I made so many connections that day. You know, I met so many people that, you know, I wouldn't have thought that they were able to help me in any way. But still, you know, you're talking months later, I'm still in contact with them, and I can still ask them like, oh, hey, do you know somebody who needs this thing being done? And they'll be able to say, oh, yeah, message my sister, or she knows this one, this other client I worked with, and they're able to refer them to me.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So your network can actually make your net work. Not even net worth, right? I remember one time, it was a particular service, and Prophet Jerome had been told or instructed by our man of God to lead the service. And there was something very poetic of how he said it. And it makes sense because our man of God even taught us that the word prophet actually derives from the word poet. Exactly. Yeah. But the thing that Prophet Jerome said, he said that your network will make your net work. Wow. If you think about it in the context of fishermen, they need nets, right? So who you know will enable or determine how your net catches what you need to catch.
So you're saying the bigger the network, the bigger the catch.
Exactly. Exactly. So thank you so much to our man of God for teaching us this revelation on money and also on wealth. But to answer the question, what can we say? Is it right for Christians to be wealthy?
100%.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. Not only is it right, it is our duty. How can the gospel spread without it being financed? Exactly. That's why our man of God always urges us all. It doesn't even matter who you are, whether you're 15, 12, start a business. Think of something of a way to generate wealth.
That's right.
Why? Not for yourself. Of course, it's good for us to enjoy wealth, but with the end in mind of what? To spread the gospel. Exactly, to become a kingdom financier. So thank you so much, sir. But yes, it is right for us to be wealthy as Christians. Is money evil? No. But is the love of money. Do you respect money as a resource, or do you worship it as your source? Exactly. But that is it from us as the Campus Cry team on another episode of Under the Influence. We'll see you again next week, same Good News time, 6:30 p.m. on this Good News channel. Until then, I have been Director Tazro, son of Prophet Uebert Angel, and this is the Campus Cry team. Peace.